Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mind of Sai Marie. Today, we are looking at the roots of resilience and the strength of our personal foundations, specifically the choices we make every day to claim our own freedom and purpose. My guest today has created a powerful, uplifting musical landscape that serves as a modern compass for the quiet struggles and heavy pressures shaping our lives. Glenda Benevides is a Grammy nominated singer songwriter, author, and transformational leader, and she is here to discuss her highly anticipated new anthem, I Ride, with the launching of the global writer movement and a rallying cry for anyone ready to step back into their power, choose freedom over fear, and live with relentless integrity. It's an absolute pleasure to have you in the studio today, Glenda. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
So, you've crafted a song in I Ride that challenges us to look at our lives as a path we must actively navigate. Many of us live under the illusion that we are in control until life throws us a curveball. What was the breaking point or the spark in your own life that made you want to write a song specifically about reclaiming the reins?
Well, I think I was going back and forth. I live in Northern California, so I was going back and forth to Boston, working with my music partner out there. And I just kind of really got connected to our history on many levels. And gosh, I was in Boston, but I also went up to Concord and Lexington up in that area. And it happened to be 4th of July. So I thought, oh, because I was looking for something to do. And it was phenomenal. I mean, there was about probably like 200 or 300 people at this park, which was actually, it's called the North Bridge. And in that area, that's where the first, as they say, the first shot was heard around the world scenario. And that's where we first started our first skirmish officially for the Revolutionary War. And so I was so moved by the whole experience of it because they came out not only in costume, but they read the Declaration of Independence. And I was like, ooh, that's what this is about. It's not about fireworks. It's not about barbecues and seeing how much we can drink. It's really about honoring that, we had a struggle to really to gain independence from our mother country. We were all British citizens at that point, which a lot of people don't really think, even though we were considered Americans. And so it was brother against brother, family against family. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And I was really moved by that. And inside of that, I started to look a little deeper. And then I started to investigate the Paul Revere scenario, Paul Revere. And I was like, oh my goodness, he was not the only person to do the ride. There were two other people that rode with him. They all took different paths. And if you really knew the story, the factual story, is that actually Paul Revere got arrested and the other guy, Dawes, he turned back on the road. And then the last person that made it all the way through was Dr. Prescott. And he was the one that alerted John Hancock and everybody to like, you guys need to leave. The British are coming and we need to hide the ammo and the whole 9 yards. So I was so moved by that whole story and finding out the factual story about it. And I had to write this song called I Ride. I really felt like they needed to be honored. And so that's pretty much the bottom line of it.
So, I Ride explores how easily our daily choices can drift into complacency and fear if we aren't living intentionally. Why do you think this theme of sudden awakening to personal responsibility resonates so deeply with people in today's high stress, divided cultural climate?
Well, you just said it. I mean, that's where we're at right now. We're narcissistic, we're self-absorbed, we're not creating community necessarily. I can't speak for every scenario or situation, but I really felt like, we really need to find our community. We need to really create community. We really need to see each other as a part of the greater whole, not just my tiny backyard with my family and I don't care about you. And, it just doesn't work like that. And I think we, especially those of us that are crammed into cities, you have a tendency to want to isolate, want to step back, and then of course you get bombarded by wonderful propaganda on the news telling you should be afraid of this, you should be afraid of that. And then it's a continuous experience of fear and isolation. And I really just felt like that's not really the truth, and we have to really step outside of that and, bond with each other on different levels, so
So you focused heavily on the collective need to rise and trust ourselves. So
I
how do you write an anthem about taking back your power without making it feel like it's an overwhelming burden and instead an inspiring and joyous release?
you write from your own spirit, you write from your own ideas, your own soul, what other things that inspire you. So you just I don't know, everybody writes differently. So for me, it was just I was inspired by the story, and I really felt I wasn't really writing the story, the song about, you know, to like at this point to help anybody. But after you hear the song and read the words, it's deeper than just the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. It's deeper than that. It's really an opportunity to, look within yourself and say, "Hey, am I on the ride? Am I making a difference? Am I going out there? Am I being brave?" It just really gives you an opportunity to kind of like, "Whew, where's my place in all of this?"
So, in this movement, a writer has to pivot away from fear and step toward raw, hard earned internal strength. Based on your life's work as a transformational coach and artist, what is the hardest thing for a person to reclaim once they've let external circumstances run their life for too long?
I'm sorry. I'm just like, what are you saying? Can you encapsulate that again?
So, essentially, the question is, what is the hardest thing for a person to reclaim once they've lost the external? I mean, once they've kind of let external circumstances run their
Uh-huh.
life and kind of take over.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be different for everybody, I think. And it's like reclaiming your own power, reclaiming your own desires, your own passions. That's up to you. You have to really be able to step back and look at what's going on with your own self. Where are you sitting with fear? Where are you sitting with anything close to that, and you have to unravel it for yourself. And, if you need support or help or, anything like that, then you just need to reach out to somebody and really look deeply and then get that breakthrough.
So, we talk a lot about reclaiming empowerment on this show. Through the writer movement, empowerment looks like choosing courage and standing firmly in your values no matter what. What can we learn from the quiet resilience of those who choose to see the cracks in their own current path and actively decide to ride forward into the unknown? What can we learn from the quiet resilience of those who choose to see the cracks in their current path and actively decide to ride forward into the unknown?
How do we reclaim our freedom in the path? Is that what you're looking for? Or what?
Well, I mean, this is for you to answer how you see fit. I can't really, basically, it's asking you, what do you think, people can learn from those who choose to actually courageously do what you're encouraging?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I think with anybody in our worlds, I think that there are people that are courageous. There are people that are doing things, and again, you have to step back and really look within for yourself and see why that was inspiring. Why did you, excuse me, why did you feel that was inspiring? And then just kind of keep looking at that and seeing how it applies to your own life.
Okay, so the next question is, what was the biggest personal level up you had to experience to channel these themes of freedom and power into this song?
Yeah. Well, just, living life really, that's what it takes. You just have to get in there, kind of roll up your sleeves and ask again those questions for yourself. What would it take for me to, really make the difference? What would it take for me to have what I want to have in life? How do I touch others? It just depends on your purpose and your intention, but not everybody's made from the same cloth.
If you were to give them a grain of wisdom, would you give?
Yeah. Well, again, I would say I look at everything as a foundation. So, clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, community. That's kind of how it works in one line. You can't have, confidence and community if you have no clarity or purpose. So that's where I say start there. And again, if you need some help, you just need to reach out to somebody, to get some insights or get the tools that you may need to have a breakthrough to find, even talking in your own community. I think that's where the power is.
So, if you were to encounter a person currently feeling stuck with fear and
Mhm.
unsure how to find their way back to their true self,
Mhm.
what piece of advice would you give them?
Fear. That's a fun one. Well, I always say it's either one or two things. You're either in love or fear. So if you're standing in fear of this, and you just need again to ask yourself, is that the truth? And and then taking a step forward to helping your own self get out of that space in order for you to see the path clear. Because otherwise you can't. You're just going to stay there in the mood or the emotion of it. So I would just say get some support in that direction.
So, finally, if your song, I Ride, and
Mhm.
the Rider movement were a bridge between the noise people experience with modern anxiety and
Mhm.
the reality of personal freedom, what is the one core truth that you hope that people will carry with them across the bridge?
Find your passion. Find your own mission in life and just look at yourself and see what's stopping you from having what you want. I mean, it's complicated, but I think it's really important for people to look and to organize your own mindset in such a way that helps you help yourself.
Well, Glenda, thank you for sharing your incredible voice and your transformational wisdom today. This has been a great and beautiful journey into what it truly means to live boldly and ride your own road.
Great, thank you.
To everyone listening, go stream I Ride by Glenda Benevides, releasing today, or yeah, it's July 16th, so today. And head over to our website to claim your complimentary I'm a Writer certificate to join this community dedicating to choosing freedom over fear. I will have links to both in the show notes. And remember, the mind is the most important story that we'll ever tell. As always, thank you for listening to the Mind of Sai Marie.